I remember the smell of ink before it dried, the tremble of a hand that pressed a seal onto my envelope, the warmth of a heart that believed I would find my way home, but I never did. I am one of many, a stack of letters that never found their destination. We lie together in a forgotten drawer of an abandoned post office, our corners curled, our words faded but not gone. Dust coats our faces, but time has not silenced us. Once we were alive, we carried dreams, apologies, and promises, words too heavy to say out loud, but light enough to be carried by ink. Each of us was a heartbeat folded into paper, waiting to be set free. The room around us smells of rust and rain. The old clock on the wall hasn't ticked in decades. Through a cracked window, sunlight filters in like memories, faint and golden. I hear the wind turn our pages sometimes, as if the world is trying to read what it once forgot. I remember the day I was written. The woman's hand trembled as she wrote, "I'm sorry I couldn't wait. I hope you'll forgive me someday." Her tears dropped on my corner, smudging the ink. She folded me carefully, sealed me with hope, and kissed the envelope before handing me to the postman. That kiss was my soul. I thought I would reach him, the man she couldn't stop loving, but fate had other plans. The postman never made that delivery. Maybe the address was wrong, maybe the road was closed, or maybe life simply forgot. Whatever the reason, I never left. I remained behind with hundreds of others, the silent witnesses of human stories that ended before they began. Sometimes at night, when the wind hums through the cracks of this old post office, I imagine what it would have felt like to be read, to be opened carefully, line by line, and let my words live inside someone's heart. But silence became my only companion. We, the forgotten letters, talk to each other now. We tell our stories in whispers that only the walls hear. We remember the touch of our writers, the weight of their emotions, and the dreams they entrusted to paper. We may be covered in dust, but inside our words are still warm. Pause, faint wind, a sigh, because even letters that never found home still remember where they were meant to go. Every crease in my paper still remembers the touch that shaped me, the warmth of fingers, the rhythm of emotion flowing from pen to page. We, the forgotten letters, were born from trembling hands and beating hearts. Some of us came from soldiers writing home. Their words carried the weight of battlefields, of fear and faith stitched together. One of them began with, "If this letter ever reaches you, know that I was thinking of your smile when the world went silent." He wrote it in the mud, under a fading light, his hands shaking not from cold but from the thought that she might never read it. He sealed it with courage, not knowing it would stay here beside me forever unread. Another letter, smaller, softer, was written by a child. Her handwriting was uneven, her words full of innocence. "Dear Santa, I hope you don't mind, but could you please make Mommy happy again?" The envelope had no address, only hope. The kind of hope only a child can write with. We remember them all. Every writer, every story, a young man who finally confessed his love, a mother who begged for forgiveness, a father who sent money that never arrived, a friend who said goodbye without knowing it was their last time. The ink was different each time, black for duty, blue for longing, red for passion, but the emotion was always the same, the need to be heard. We were never just paper. We were human voices captured in stillness. Each sentence carried a heartbeat, each pause a sigh. When they folded us, they didn't just close paper. They sealed away pieces of themselves, and though we never reached their loved ones, we remember every single one of them, because that's what letters do. They remember, They remember the things people couldn't say out loud. They remember the secrets whispered into ink. They remember the dreams people hoped would live beyond them. Sometimes I wonder what happened to the people who wrote us. Did they move on? Did they forget? Or do they still wake up some nights, wondering why the silence never answered back? We, the silent witnesses, still hold their voices inside us. Faded, yes, but not gone. Their hands gave us life. Their silence gave us meaning. The music swells. A slow violin joins the piano, soft and aching. And though those hands are long gone, the warmth they left on our pages still lingers, as if time itself refused to erase love that's strong. I was ready. Oh, I was ready to leave. The seal on my envelope was tight, my corners sharp, my ink still warm. I could feel the excitement of the world outside, the journey that awaited me, the roads I would travel, the hands I would reach, but the journey never came. I watched the postman leave that day, unaware of the lives waiting inside me. The streets were bustling with life, children laughing, vendors calling, wheels turning on cobblestone roads. And yet I remained here, stacked with my companions, our voices silent, our dreams postponed. I imagined the streets I would have seen. The letter from the soldier would have crossed muddy fields, smelled of gunpowder and rain. The child's note would have flown over snowy rooftops, slipping through chimneys and cracks, bright as hope. The love letter, through bustling towns, past roaring rivers, carried carefully by hands that never knew my weight. We were all ready to reach the warmth of another heart, to be opened with trembling hands, to whisper comfort, apology or longing. But fate turned us into spectators of the world we were meant to touch. Days became weeks, weeks became months. Sometimes a curious breeze would lift the edges of our envelopes. Sometimes sunlight would flicker across our surfaces, painting us in gold. We imagined who would read us. Would they laugh, cry, forgive, love? But all we got was stillness. I remember the sound of rain once. It pelted the roof and drummed on the windows. I imagined the letters that would have carried these words to someone far away, the comfort of hearing that the storm wasn't theirs alone. But I stayed, still, waiting, dreaming. And we watched others go. Other letters, other envelopes, delivered on time. We heard their rustle, their joy, their trembling hands, and then silence returned to us, the forgotten ones, the letters that never found home. Yet even in stillness, we carried hope, hope that someday someone would read us, hope that our words, these frozen echoes of human hearts, would finally touch a soul. Time passed. The world outside moved on, but we remained, patiently holding the lives, dreams and emotions of those who had trusted us with their hearts. Because even when the journey never begins, the story still waits to be told. Pause, soft wind, the faint rustle of paper, and one day, someone might finally open us. Years have passed. Dust has settled on our surfaces, blanketing us like a quiet shroud. We, the letters that never found home, have become relics, forgotten fragments of lives long gone. But even in dust, we remember. We remember the hands that wrote us, the trembling hearts that sealed us, the hopes, apologies, dreams and confessions that filled our pages. The world outside changed. Children grew into adults. Streets were rebuilt, buildings crumbled, new voices filled the air, unaware of the silent stories stacked beneath old floorboards and behind locked drawers. We watched from our stillness, watched as life moved forward, relentless and unaware, and yet time did not erase us. The ink may have faded, the paper yellowed, but our essence remained intact, a quiet testament to human emotion frozen in time. I think of the letters that carried love across oceans, never reaching the one who needed it most. I think of apologies that were never heard. I think of dreams that were never realized because we never traveled beyond these walls. Dust settled on us, yes, but it also became our witness. Every speck tells a story of patience, resilience, and silent endurance. We learned to exist without acknowledgement, to keep hope alive even in neglect. There is a strange beauty in this silence. Without eyes to witness, we became intimate observers of life itself. We heard the echoes of laughter from above, felt the tremor of footsteps on stairs, and in our quiet corner we whispered to each other, sharing memories of the hands that shaped us, the hearts that believed in us. Even as decades passed, we held on to our promise that one day someone would see us. Someone would unfold our pages and hear the voices trapped within. The love, regret, longing and hope that once flowed from hand to paper would finally find its listener. We learned that time does not always erase meaning. Sometimes it preserves it, like a seed lying dormant under soil, waiting for the rain to awaken it. And in this dusty eternity, we discovered a profound truth. Even the forgotten have value. Even the silent have stories. Even letters that never found home can still touch a heart. Pause, the sound of dust shifting, a faint whisper of paper, and perhaps in this waiting, we became timeless. And then one day, it happened. A hand reached for us, not the ones we were written for, not the lives that had poured their souls onto our pages, but someone curious, someone searching, someone who needed to hear voices from the past. We were unfolded, one by one, trembling under fingertips that did not know our history. And yet, as our words were read aloud, something extraordinary happened. Our letters spoke again. The soldier's voice trembled with courage and longing. The child's hope sparkled through the faded blue ink. The lover's apology hung in the air, raw and aching, as if the walls themselves had exhaled. We realized something we had never understood in all those years of waiting. It was never just about reaching the intended hands. It was about being heard, about touching a heart, any heart with our stories, and in that moment we became more than paper. We became bridges. Bridges between forgotten pasts and living souls. Bridges between hope and healing, between longing and understanding. The person reading us laughed, sometimes cried, sometimes paused to catch their breath. They felt the heartbeat in every word, the weight of emotions that had waited decades for recognition. We had finally completed our journey. Not the one we had imagined, not the one we were promised, but a journey that mattered all the same. And as we whispered our final words, we understood that silence is never permanent. Even when the world forgets, even when time stretches endlessly, even when love seems lost, stories find a way. We, the letters that never found home, had finally spoken. Our voices, carried on the hands and hearts of strangers, had reached someone after all. And for the first time in years, we were at peace. Because sometimes home isn't a place or a person. Sometimes home is simply being heard.